Ira Schofel and senior writer Corey Clark. Your weekly dose of all things FSU Pistols and Pies starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
The Seminole Headlines 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV begins right now. Thanks for being here. There's Corey. There's Ira. We're all together again in studio. It's a glorious thing. And with that, I say hello, gentlemen. How are you?
What up?
But not yay sausage.
Not yet.
Not yet.
I can say hello to you first.
Okay. Well, hey, man, good to see you.
Good to see you,
It's
too.
been a good 3 days.
It's been a few days. Corey, you all right?
I'm good, man. Thanks for asking.
All right. Yay, sausage. And away we go. It's like we're at that stop somewhere between Atlanta and Miami. Maybe we had to do a quick show in Pensacola, so you got to get the formalities out of the way before we start the show.
Before we start playing our big hit, one of our big hits, not our biggest
We're
one.
only going to play a couple because this is a shortened show. We just got it's a money
In and
grab.
out.
Yeah,
They're giving us 20 grand and we're hitting it.
Yeah,
Yeah, man, I got another concerning text from another friend about the supply of sausage at their location.
What is going on?
I don't know, man. We may need to have a sausage intervention at the local Publix's because apparently they're moving them around, not carrying as much variety. They still had a good amount of registered sausage, but not the full variety. And listen, we need the full variety at all these stores, Publix. And
I'm going to start telling people just to go to registermeats.com and eliminate the middleman because the middleman is dropping the ball in a big way.
Yeah, I was recently at Publix and saw plenty of sausage on display.
Oh, there you go. All right. I thought you were a little concerned before. Or no, somebody else reached out to us.
I checked the bins and there was sausage galore.
There you go. That's good to hear.
I was happy about that.
If you don't have registered sausage in your grocery store or you're unhappy about what they're carrying, maybe they've scaled back a little bit. They just have the andouille.
Well, they're out because they're always out because it's so popular.
Listen, man, that can happen. But still, the meat manager, the middleman, still has to know what's going on. Tell them you want some more registered sausage at your local grocery store. If they don't carry it at all, reach out to them then, especially in the Southeast. Can't be driving trucks to deliver sausage out to Arizona yet. We haven't done that. But if you want it, if you're in other parts of the country, go to registermeats.com, like Corey said, and deliver it. I think he had a little promo code going on Instagram the other day. For some reason, I don't know. It didn't seem like it made it to Twitter.
No, I
need to figure out what's going on there. Yeah. But I think on the IG account, as the kids say, for register sausage, there might be a promo code there. And 10-15% off, something like that at registermeats.com. It's unbelievable sausage, very well done, made in Florida, and they are Noles, Ben's and Noel.
I envision like a cool episode like that we film. We get Aslan and people with the technical skills to do so, film the three of us Smokey and the Bandit style delivering sausage to Arizona.
And we got 24 hours. We got like 30 hours to get there.
We're driving it to
Arizona. It's the reverse. We're going the opposite way.
Yeah, we're taking it out to Scottsdale.
Yeah.
For the people out there. We're rolling Big River.
Smokey on our tail.
Yeah. Let's go.
Can I be the Jerry Reed? Can I bring my dog? Well, he doesn't like to ride in a truck.
That was the best character. I mean, that was the best. I was
hoping because last week we started the show with references to Sport Magazine.
Here we go. Let's go. Let's talk about the
Scrimmage. We start with Smokey and the Bandit references. This week. Sorry.
Hey man,
that's older than Sport Magazine.
But I will tell you, it's
a Burt Reynolds
I was just
vehicle.
about to say, it is
a classic.
And not just that. Yeah, it's old, but in the legend of Florida State, the lore of Florida State, it's well known by modern Noles, ancient Noles, and everybody in between.
And kids, if you don't know, it's that song y'all sing between the third and fourth quarter. That's the Smokey and the Bandit song.
That's what you sing. That's what you get right there. All right, so I think we should start to not wallow in the sadness that is Florida's third national championship on the hardwood, but rather to learn from it as we watch Luke try to put together the modern forward-thinking FSU basketball approach, and they're building a roster.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
Is it a magic power that Golden has? Why is it that their opponents just melt in the last 3 minutes?
Texas Tech
and Houston. Yeah. I mean, what do we?
The Houston thing was crazy.
10 possessions were insane.
The last 4 were turnovers. They didn't even get a shot at the rim the last 4 times.
And I don't even know what they were trying to do.
No,
I think it's a couple things. Florida was a deeper and better team.
They are, man.
And they're much better than Houston. They should have beat Houston by 30. They fooled around and almost lost the championship because they didn't play well. And Florida,
I don't like where this conversation is going.
But secondly,
so they're not much better than Houston.
They are.
I mean, come on, man. They were 1.5. They were 1.5 point favorite.
Right. I watched the game too. Who's the better team?
But yeah, right. But much better, mate. You just said they should have won by 30. You know that was hyperbole. That's crazy.
It is. They're much better, deeper than Houston. Houston's offense is ass.
But their defense made Florida's offense look like ass.
I've never admired a team overcome pretty obvious deficits more than I admire that Houston team.
Until the end.
But that's what's going to get you. You don't have a lot of firepower.
Yeah, man.
When Florida ratcheted up their defense, who was going to score?
They got a Cryer and Manny Sharp.
Florida a little bit of credit. I'm sorry, guys.
But it's like Florida State didn't go 4 straight possessions with turning the ball over. Like, just get a shot at the rim. 13 his whole life was back tapping offensive rebounds.
All right,
that's all. It's not like we're saying that Houston should have won the game. It's disappointing. It's not normal to go.
I wish Florida had lost by 30.
To have 4 turnovers in a minute 10 is nuts.
And Texas Tech was up.
And Texas Tech was up 14 with 4 minutes left.
Do you think there's a trend there?
Yeah, man. They have some magic power that people just fall apart. That's what it is.
And Clayton hit some shots in the Texas Tech game that were unreal. This one was basically just. Look, it wasn't a meltdown by Houston because they did guard their asses off the whole game.
I thought it was a meltdown.
But you get a shot at the rim. What bothered me was Manny Sharp Emmanuel Sharp is their second leading scorer, averaging 17 a game. He finally hits a 3 with like 5 minutes left. Steps back into one, drills one, gives them the lead. Doesn't get the ball again until he double dribbles. By the way, on that.
I don't understand what he's doing.
Can you not pick up the ball?
It's iffy. Like if he thinks it, he could have been like passing to yourself, so it would be a penalty. But
so you're not allowed to jump and dribble.
He could tap it to somebody else. Like why couldn't he tap it to his teammate?
I don't think he could have touched it again.
I think he thought he couldn't touch it again. I guess that's the rule. He couldn't. But I don't understand. Honestly, and I've watched basketball all my life.
Well, then pick it up and like stop the clock and give them the ball. You can't just let them take the ball.
Yeah, exactly. But like he dribbled. He didn't shoot. He jumped up and dribbled.
He left his feet.
Yes. So if you leave the feet, you can't dribble by jumping up in the air.
I've seen it happen.
Right? You know what I'm saying? Because that was technically a dribble.
If you were lucky, it would be the NBA where there are no rules. And you'd be allowed to do whatever you want. 9 steps, whatever it is. But in this situation, no. I get
it. I've seen it. I don't understand. I guess I don't understand the machinations of that being.
He was right to know that it was going to be called, but I was right that he should have picked up the ball.
He should have done anything, but he did.
Yeah, the clock stops in that moment.
You got a chance to foul.
What if he kicks it?
Sports ball.
But
I mean,
why? It's not. Is it illegal to? You just can't touch it. Period.
Kick a ball in basketball. They're going to call that.
This is Corey's homage to his dad, whose theory was that you should kick a ground ball that's going to be a double play.
Oh, that's 100% true.
Because they can't assume a double. John Clark gave us that.
Bases loaded, 1 out. You're the runner at second. Sharp ground ball right to the shortstop.
You're out if it hits you.
Yeah,
but the inning continues.
Right.
And if you hit a 1-hopper, I don't care who it is, if you hit a 1-hopper right to the shortstop and you're not a 4-2 40 guy, it's going to be a double play and the inning's over. If you just sit there and catch it as the base runner, you're out. But the inning continues in the base.
Intentionality of all this stuff. I don't know that
no chance.
either. Yeah.
No chance. I told that to Mike Martin Sr. too. He never took me up on that. No.
Oddly enough, he never contemplated that.
But you got to think.
The Clarks think differently.
Yeah, we do. But he should have kicked it. I don't know there's a rule about an offensive player kicking a ball, by the way. I'm just saying. A defense isn't allowed to kick it. I think an offensive player can do whatever he wants with his foot.
Anyway,
I don't believe so. But what I would say is back to the original point. Rather than wallow in the frustrations of Florida winning another national title in basketball, I do think that the commonality here of all the teams that succeeded this year, besides being 1 seeds, is that, and the only exception is Duke, they're all old as hell, filled with a ton of transfers. And it's crazy how many of, it's all of that Florida team just about. Transfer guys, good players, turned into really good players that are juniors, seniors, redshirt seniors, graduate seniors. It's crazy. And so you wonder, moving forward, listen, you had several coaches, including Rick Pitino, say it last week. I don't know if I agree with him or not. He was like, well, if we continue down this path, he's like, there's no real reason to recruit freshmen, anybody. And he was asked in an interview, would you have taken Cooper Flagg? And he's like, well, he might be the lone exception because he's a freak and he's going to go number 1 in the draft. He's like, other than that, no. Because
I think there's special freshmen you'd still.
That's what he said, other than the freaks of nature. Yeah. But he said, for the most part, you can't win with them because you're going to be going against grown-ass men that have transferred 3 times, been through the trenches, all of it. They're going to be 23 and 24 years old. They're going to be 50 pounds heavier. It's interesting.
Think about like Taylor Bowen or Daquan Davis. Like, I think both of them can end up being solid college basketball players. Taylor Bowen's at Alabama now.
He could be an NBA player.
Right. But what did you get out of him?
Well,
and what did you get out of Daquan? I think that's the point. Is like they're 4-stars, they're high 4-stars. And the theory is, okay, Daquan Davis isn't going to be a great point guard as a freshman, but by the time he's a junior or senior, he could be one of the best players in the conference. But he's not here. And so you can't really groom them anymore.
Well, that was his point about St. John's. He was like, look, man.
Especially in a place like St. John's, that is absolutely a transactional mercenary school.
I'm trying to get a guy that's a senior or a junior to run my backcourt, who's been through it, who's been to the tournament twice, who's gotten stronger, who's smarter.
But that's where what Corey just said about St. John's being transactional and how much they're going to spend on basketball, which they are going to spend a ton. They can go out and buy their team every year, and that's fine. I think Luke understands wisely that he's going to have to, some pieces are going to have to be homegrown. Now, you maybe sign a high school kid who doesn't cost you a whole lot, and then maybe you develop him over a year or two, and then you've got to pay him a lot more to stay. But you've got a better chance with him who knows he's being developed than going to get him on the open market. Florida State basketball is not in a position to go out and just freewheel and hire.
Well, no, that's why you get the kid from Florida Southern is a good get, but he's from Florida Southern. They didn't go get a kid from UCLA.
No, but I think like On3 had him as a 4-star in the portal. I mean, he was a lot of people wanted.
And then a guy from Drexel and a guy from State. But this is what he has to do. And
but he has to marry it with some high school recruiting.
Maybe, but I definitely think the rotation. The way he's doing it, I think, is the right way. Now, he might have a couple high school kids this year. It's hard.
It's funny how everybody kills Norvell for not recruiting high schools, but now we're going to say basketball should never recruit high schools.
No, I was quoting Rick Pitino. And secondly, I would just tell you that's the way those teams were made up in the tournament that had success. They're all veteran teams. So I get Florida State may not be able to do that. Just a warning, all of our questions pertaining to basketball for the second hour are why can't we be anywhere close to good in basketball?
We can discuss some of that, but I don't want to spend an hour on it.
Well, either do I, Ira, but they asked the question.
Well, who are you, Ira?
If we don't ask questions.
I don't think a lot of our listeners want to wallow in that.
Well, they don't want to wallow in that, but what they would like to know is, are they that far away? And I have said yes many times, and people don't want to hear that either. But what are you supposed to just fake it and pretend like they are? Florida State doesn't have close to the money to spend on basketball that many teams they seek to compete with do. And that's their reality. And it's devastating. It's devastating. If you're a Florida State fan, graduate, supporter of any kind, it's hard to swallow that and understand that that's where you're at.
Then people can step up and give money to Luke.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, that's what Luke honestly.
Coaches Club. He talked about his press conference. Yeah. He talked about when we spoke to him a few days later. I'm sure he talked about in your interview when you had him on. He wants people to donate. If you're frustrated about it, you can certainly donate.
I know it's his first year and he's going to get a lot of leeway, but it's a very important year for him. Like if he can get this fan base excited and have some momentum, get to the tournament, be awesome. First round, it doesn't matter. Just be an exciting watch and a good watch and see an upward trajectory. Then maybe you do get people to be like, I can get behind this. So right now it's still,
here's the thing, man. What I would like to see, and I think we will see. We'll see. It's to be determined. We don't know for sure. But I will be happy if, obviously, the play's good, competitive, but also that they look like they know what they're doing and they're cohesive.
That would be nice.
This year devolved into Jameer Watkins and Malik Ewan. That was their team. And everybody else just kind of stood around and tried to get loose ball. I mean, there was just or Daquan Davis just ran to the basket and threw the ball up. There was no semblance of a team, especially once things started going sideways midway through the year. If it's a like that was the thing about watching Houston, Florida, I would say that was constructive is you could tell, man, those guys knew where all their teammates were on every play. But even when they're not running plays, they just know principles of, man, if I drive to this side, this guy's swinging here.
So think about like Florida. I noticed this a lot. Like he's a good coach, man. Obviously, he's got good players, but think of all the dunks or missed dunks that Florida had off penetration because they were doubling Clayton. Yeah. So they get somebody to drive to the paint, and he just blindly throws it towards the basket where one of their big white kids catches it and dunks it, or tries to anyway. That's basket. That's good. Right, that's good basketball. That's taking advantage of a really good defense. It's also good players being able to make plays in the moment, which is nice too.
Well, I think back to the constructive part of this, it's not to be projecting the frustration. It's that how do you fix it part of the conversation that is worth having. Mm-hmm. It's worth Florida State people asking themselves, okay, you want this now? Because now you're pissed. Now you're angry. Now it's real easy to be angry the day after your arch rival wins another national championship in basketball and we've never won one. And so you say, well, wait, what gives? Well, listen, man, nobody seemed to care the last few years when this was wandering around aimlessly in the desert. There was no sense that program mattered in any way, shape, or form, partly because the football team was on fire. But you do have to ask yourself, what do you want? What is a priority? How much do you care? and how quickly can we get the hell up out of here in terms of the ACC, because they don't have the monies necessary. But I've gotten frustrated by the lack of interest for the most part in basketball's plight for a very long time. It frustrates me to no end. There are no rules. If you look around at the other power and teams of cachet in college athletics, lots of universities compete at both at a high level. We've had intermittent runs of 4 years, 3 years here where it does happen. But man, basketball's never been a priority. Never been a priority.
Well, no, it hasn't. I mean, there's been waves where it's been more of a priority than other times, but no, especially if football's not doing well. If football's doing well, yeah, man, you can make basketball a priority, especially if you're in a conference that pays you well.
Yeah.
Football did not do well.
No, it did not. So that is priority number one.
Yes.
So,
correct.
And number two and number three.
Good luck, Luke.
The other thing I would say, though, is like the perfect, I guess, comparison right now. There's a lot of FSU fans on our message boards and on social media who wanted Florida State to go after a guy like Will Wade. And Florida State did not really go hard after Will Wade. He goes to NC State. And then I've got people coming at me on Twitter like, what, Florida State's not as good of an athletic program as NC State? And it's like, no, man. The difference is Florida State has to win at football and is all in on football. And they're determined because they believe that they can be a national championship contender perennially at football. When you're not, everything has to go to football. NC State is NC State. So basketball is a huge priority to them. It's a bigger priority to them than it is. And because they're going to spend more on NIL for that, because it does mean so much to them in that state, in that athletic program, that you can get a guy like Will Wade. And so that part of it, there's some realities to it that we can't just act like aren't there. I mean, it's Florida State, man. Football is football.
Yeah. And there aren't many universities now, as you think about it in 2025, that are good at both, that aren't in one of those two conferences.
Right.
It's just hard. It's really, Clemson and Florida State are in the same boat. Clemson was good this year until that disastrous first round game. But it's right now it wasn't impossible 10 years ago. And nobody's given Leonard a pass for not maybe achieving more during his time. But yeah, now it's going to be really hard to be good at both.
Yeah, that's the stark reality. Yeah. They got to get out of here.
But in the meantime, you hope Luke can do really well with these kind of players, get some momentum going, get some interest in the program, and you better hope the football team wins some effing games. That's number one priority.
Which is where we're going to go next, and that is talk about football. We'll do so. Seminole Headlines 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV continues in a moment.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, Bird Dogs, Skims, or Seminole Headlines, sure, you think about things like product quality, a cool brand, good marketing. But an overlooked secret is the businesses behind the business, making buying and selling simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret, with Shop Pay, that boosts conversions up to 50%. That means fewer abandoned carts and way more sales going through. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform had better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/warchant, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/warchant to upgrade your selling today. That's shopify.com/warchant.
With same-day, easy-to-read digital reports. They'll even go with you on a walkthrough inspection of the home you want to buy. If you're planning to list your house before putting it up for sale, ACL will provide you a pre-listing inspection. Call today, 850-312-8919, 312-8919. Remember, before you buy or sell, call ACL.
Hey, Nole fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
So slap my britches and call me a cowpoke. The first ever Cowboys and Pearls event is riding in a Southwind Plantation, and it's going to be a rip-roaring good time. On April 11th from 7 till 10, we'll be shucking oysters and boot-scooting the night away with live music, raffle prizes, and live auction, all benefiting Impact Tallahassee. You do not want to miss this amazing event, so saddle up with your friends and join us from the Impact Tallahassee Cowboys and Pearls at Southwind Plantation. For event tickets and more information, visit impacttlh.org.
This is a special notice to U.S. taxpayers owing $10,000 or more to the IRS. Tax Relief Advocates is urgently notifying taxpayers that tax relief initiatives are now available that may significantly reduce or eliminate what you owe. If you're afraid of an IRS lien, levy, or wage garnishment, don't lose hope. You can now take advantage of these current relief programs to end all collections, reduce the amount you owe, and resolve your tax problem. Even if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are already in a payment plan, you may still qualify for significant relief. Struggling taxpayers can now get relief they need during these hard economic times. A hotline has been established by Tax Relief Advocates for you to call and see what you qualify for. They are A+ rated with the BBB and have over 1,000 5-star reviews. Don't wait. Call 800-575-7147. 800-575-7147. That's 800-575-7147 or simply visit TRA.com.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary. Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
On to some football here really quickly before we get to our scrimmage, we'll trifecta observations here, the three of them. We've all already talked about it to some degree, but not on this show, so we will together in a moment. But first, as it relates to football, and we'll name everybody, but we have the latest Florida State Athletic Hall of Famers. And before we get to the two football guys, I will say I think mutual friends of ours, Brian Henry gets
good for him.
Good to see him get
well
in.
Deserved. He was a really good pitcher here.
Awesome.
He was. To the football, and again, there are others, track and field, swimming, and all that. But Jameis Winston and Rashad Green, and it reminded me, got me thinking, I'm going to talk about it some in the bonus hour, but man, just how special those two players were. There was on a team full of special, I might add. Those two guys, it's pretty rare that at such a young age, when we talk about going to a scrimmage or a practice where you're trying to discern where's the special, it didn't take long to figure that out with those two guys. I mean, Rashad Green came in running fluid routes from day one. The second you saw him, you're like, well, that's different. Guys shouldn't look that polished that fast. And it didn't take Jameis long either once we got through that spring, right? So it didn't take long, and those guys made their presence felt immediately, and now they'll be in the Florida State Hall of Fame, which makes obvious sense.
Is there any – should we start a movement to start an FSU Football Hall of Fame that's separate from the FSU Athletics Hall of Fame? Because there's a bunch of dudes that were great football players here that are not in that Hall of Fame.
In the Athletics Hall of Fame.
And they're getting passed over by this next generation of guys. I don't know that they're ever going to get in. Like one I know takes it pretty personally is Dexter Carter. Not a big fan of the fact that he's never
is he not in that that's crazy.
No,
he's a first-round pick and good.
Yeah. Talk to Dexter about it.
I remember him. That's something.
And I believe Dexter's in town today. He's coming to town today with his son Devin, who's a big recruit. So I don't know if that timing was great to announce that the next class and that Dexter's still not in. But I mean,
remember
I don't
they tried that though with Andrew Wiggins, like honoring his dad at the game, and that didn't work out.
It didn't work out. But no, I just think there's a lot of guys like that, and they're only going to. And I talked to somebody at FSU about Dexter's situation. They're like, well. And we can only bring in like one or two football guys a year because they got to bring in swimmers and softball players. And I don't know, man. It's just
you're exactly right, Ira. It's a good point to bring up, and it should be lobbied for. But it reminds you a little bit of the NFL Hall of Fame, which is exclusive football players, but they elect so precious few each year.
There's a log jam. It's a backup.
So 20 and 30 to 40 deep of like just receivers alone.
Yeah,
not even.
I don't think Torrey Holt's in it yet.
It's insane.
Even the College Football Hall of Fame is ridiculous. I mean, I think
Marvin finally got in.
Marvin went in last year, right?
Yeah,
Marvin won the butt kiss in 1992, and he went in 2024.
Yeah.
So I know like the purists who like try to limit Hall of Fame. I'm like more, especially in football. There's so many freaking.
And also
players.
you go in this, but also this athletic department has had Bob Raymond deserves to be in your Hall of Fame. 100%. So does Lacey Waldrop. She was great at softball. Like these are really good players and great athletes in their time. But yeah, I got you.
Well, the reason you'd want to separate it,
bring in 5 football a year if you want.
Well, I think if you were going to do football only, and it makes sense to do so, you would you go ahead and go and look at all the consensus All-Americans Florida State's had. There's a lot. So go and look at all the consensus All-Americans right off the bat, right? And then let's see how many 2-time All-Americans you had, whatever the line's going to be drawn for Hall of Fame. And then just go, okay, which of these guys is not in our Hall of Fame? That's absurd. Right. And you'd quickly go through and you'd go, oh, good God, so-and-so's not in. He was 2-time All-ACC and an All-American.
Dexter also was like an All-American in track. Like he was on that 4x1 team with Dion and Sammy.
And his individual numbers at FSU are not unbelievable because he's sharing time
with Sammy Smith. Was pretty good. Yeah.
I mean,
that's and he was a Baxley, Georgia, small kid, tough as nails. He dropped the flag on our man's head like he did Bernard Clark. Yeah.
Yeah. It's famous kids.
Anyway, that's something that it just, I get it, man. The more exclusive Halls of Fame are, the better they are, I guess. But,
I agree.
But there's so many people there. And I guess now maybe Dexter just waited out till that 2017 to 21 Florida State football teams kind of roll through. And there's not going to be a lot of those. So maybe it'll open up some spots.
They'll go back.
They'll go back.
I will say,
the history books.
Cool honor for Rashad Green and very deserving. I think he's going to get, sadly, going to get lost a little bit to history because his NFL career didn't work out. But that dude is an all-time great. I think he should be a college football Hall of Famer, but he definitely is a Florida State Hall of Famer. And what was cool about him is that position is, let's just say, filled with some mercurial personalities.
Divas.
Dude, that dude
solid.
Just did not, he never just and also exactly what Jameis needed.
100%.
Like exactly the type of personality Jameis needed to be around. I remember, I don't know if it was Instagram or Snapchat or something, but Jameis was being goofy recording himself one night at their apartment. And somebody showed this to me when it happened. Because I didn't follow any of those kids on social media. I want to get that clear. But Jameis is goofing around, making fun of Rashad, who's doing homework on the couch. And Rashad just, without even missing a beat, he's like writing something. He just stops, flicks them off, and goes back to writing something. Like, just shut up, dude. Like, he was so, like, Jameis, it was like the perfect yin to his yang. And that's really cool that they're going in together.
Rashad actually, I'm sorry, just on that topic. Rashad actually was here at Pro Day last year, and we had to talk to him a little bit about that because we were just talking about, like, teammates or players that sometimes kind of have a hard time getting out of their own way. And he was and he said that when Jameis was going through some of his stuff, that there was at one point he's just like, look, man, you're staying in my apartment now. Like he just like kidnapped him. He's like, you're not going out. You're not going to you're not going to Publix. You're just going to stay
here. You need to be with me.
Not going to the student union.
Exactly.
Standing up on any picnic table.
And it was just like, but Rashad had that maturity as a 21-year-old. And he still lives here in town. His wife has a really successful business. They're doing really well.
Oh, good. Good.
So to Corey's point, I know you've always gushed about Rashad for obvious reasons, but for those that don't remember, and it's in FSU's release, and I went back over it this morning once this was released. He's the all-time leader in career receptions with 270, receiving yards with 3,830. Also holds the FSU record for receptions in a season with 99 in 2014.
Man.
His 1,365 yards gained in 2014 is second only to Ron Sellers. Ask Ron, he'll tell you that. One of the stars of the Seminoles 2013 National Championship team, of course, scored 29 touchdowns over his 4-year career with ranked second most at FSU, gained over 1,000.
And clutch, dude, like the Notre Dame game. The Auburn game, he has the big catch to get him down there. Virginia Tech, he scores the game winner. Just made big play after big play his whole life.
How many years will it take some of the 2024 receivers to get to 99 in one season?
Speaking of, let's talk about the scrimmage. And we didn't get to see any of the receivers, did we?
I mean, we saw a couple of receivers.
I know, but we didn't see the guy. Boggs might end up being a dude.
I think
he'll
be part of the rotation. I think.
You want to carry it over? Because it's going to be a brief segment, and I think we should do the meaty segment of the hour.
Oh, okay.
With the scrimmage.
So where do we go now? Back to the Hall of Fame?
No, we go back to commercial break.
Listening
to Seminole Headlines. No, we're carrying it over. 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV continues in a moment.
93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV continues in a moment. 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV continues in a moment. 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV continues in a moment. 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV continues in a moment. 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV continues in a moment. 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV continues in a moment. 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV continues in a moment. 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV continues in a moment. 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV continues in a moment. 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV continues in a moment. 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV continues in a moment. 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV continues in a moment. 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV continues in a moment. 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV continues in a moment. 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV continues in a moment. 93.
Your local news now.
A radar-confirmed tornado churned through Leon County Monday, leaving down trees across the capital city. Trees fell and obstructed several roads in the county, including Sunny Hill Road near the Florida-Georgia line on Monday afternoon after being caught in the twister's path. All of the obstructed roads have since been cleared. So far, no injuries have been reported. The National Weather Service will conduct an investigation to determine the logistics of the tornadoes. Florida Highway Patrol announced Friday that a traffic stop this week in Leon County led to the arrest and detainment of multiple people suspected of criminal activity or residing illegally in the U.S. The state agency said that once stopped, FHP identified the driver as a suspected Latin Kings gang member, and he was arrested on charges of driving without a license and with multiple open containers. FHP also arrested a passenger who the state agency said had a warrant in another area. This is Rachel Anay with Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by McElmore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at McElmoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Sunny skies this afternoon with highs around 72. Winds out of the north, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Mainly clear skies tonight, lows dip down to about 50. Bright sunshine tomorrow, highs around 75. Seasonal temps Thursday and Friday with highs in the upper 70s. Slight chance for showers Friday. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently, it's 62 degrees.
This announcement is brought to you by Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey.
If you're driving right now, you should know there's an 80% chance that the cars all around you don't carry any bodily injury insurance. Most people don't realize it, but in Florida, all the law requires is that drivers carry property damage insurance. This means that the texting teen drifting over into your lane or the drag racer on your rear bumper have no way of compensating you or your loved ones when they cause a crash. And this should scare the hell out of you. Fortunately, there's an easy way to protect your family from this, and it's called uninsured motorist coverage. It's an absolute must, but a lot of insurance companies are convincing folks to drop it just to save a few dollars. Take it from the personal injury experts. Don't. At Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey, we've recovered millions of dollars in uninsured motorist coverage in crashes where our clients would have otherwise received nothing. So please, call your agent right now and make sure you have uninsured motorist coverage on your policy. We hope you'll never need it, but we'll be here for you if you ever do. Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey. Don't settle for less.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
See, that wasn't so bad. We gather, we get back to it. Let's start talking about it. All right, well, yeah, Corey, you hinted at it. We should start with that. It is hard to glean an awful lot from a spring football practice, halfway through spring, new defense, new offense, and then a lot of guys that are going to be pretty important, I think, to running this thing on offense anyhow, especially at wide receiver that we're out. And, you know, people hear injuries, they get scared. Like, Ira, you talked about it the other night on the Smash, that it's not to the, or last night on the Smash, it's not to the degree that people think it is, where guys are gone for protracted periods of time. But when we were at the scrimmage, I would argue that their top three receivers, the ones who have a chance to make the most amount of explosive plays down the field, they were held out. They were not there too. So it's hard to know, because that meant of a lack of explosive plays, I thought, at least in the passing game.
Yeah, and I think it I'm sure it changed play calling in a large degree. What did you guys feel about the splitting the reps evenly? Because I would like to see more of Tommy.
Yeah.
Especially throwing the football.
Yeah, I guess they did that the first scrimmage too, but it's like, yeah, man, I maybe it's because, like, what's the point? He's not playing with his offensive line. He's not playing with his receivers, so he's not missing out on something. Like, yes, I thought they did that way too much when they had Croman Hawk and Brock Glenn and DJU. It's like, man, let whoever your starter is, give him the most reps when you're learning a new offense. But I do think that had mostly to do with.
I also wonder if it's a sign that they do think Sperry is a guy who might be able to help this year. Like, let's get him on the fast track, because, man, he's a talent. There's no question he's a talent. And but, you know, listen, I just, you know, so from that standpoint, it's hard to have a huge takeaway about Tommy as a passer, because when he throw 10 passes. 12
Yeah,
passes?
14 maybe, but like 3 of them were throwaways.
Right.
Two were picked. Most of them were short. Like he didn't get a chance to make any throws.
And so it wasn't I know that they didn't hold the scrimmage for us guys.
No.
We were not the intended audience there, but
that was clear where they put us.
no, I thought it was actually good.
I didn't like walking up it. It was a little, the scaffolding and stuff was a little shaky.
But I like the view from there for sure.
Like there's no way there's been this many people on this set of stairs at one time. We're all going down. We're all falling.
The other thing, I thought it was a little bit hard for me sometimes defensively, personnel and like where people are lined up and stuff, because the depth perception, especially when they were further back, was a little bit hard to see. But it was cool to see how the plays developed. And yeah, man, I think the one thing I did, and I wrote about it yesterday, but the Tommy's control, I thought his command of the offense, just in terms of knowing where everybody's supposed to be on every play, seemed like very impressive to me. Because even, certainly last year with DJ, but even, early in Jordan's tenure when McKenzie was here and just learning the offense, a lot of times quarterbacks don't always know everything. They're worried about themselves, especially first year in the system. He knows where everybody's supposed to be. And I think that speaks to probably, he was in the system 3 years ago. Plus, I'm sure since December, man, he knows this is his chance. This is his shot. He did an interview with our friends, Eric McLean and Kelly Gramlich with the ACC network. They have an interview with him coming up, and Eric was telling me about it. And he said that Tommy talked about like how just fired up he is to have, just these kinds of playmakers. I mean, he's never had a receiver like Deuce Robinson or Squirrel White. So that he's excited, these tight ends. So
he didn't have him on Saturday either.
No, but he will in the fall.
Yeah.
So I think I think it's cool. It's clearly his team, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any doubt.
Well, you wouldn't have brought him in not to play him.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
I like that he's taking. I never felt like DJ had any ownership of this team.
I don't think they responded to DJ in any way.
And maybe he just never was comfortable. I don't know. But Castellanos is a much better natural leader.
Yeah.
I think he's certainly an assertive kid, and I think he's a guy that, wants the ball. He got frustrated during that practice, and I would too. If you're splitting it 33% through 3 guys, come on, man. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
I mean, you brought me into play.
I didn't think it was 33%. I
felt like Sperry got the most.
I think Sperry got the most reps out of anybody.
Well, Gus said it was split evenly at 33%.
I could go back to my notes, but I don't think that's true.
Well, one of the problems, and I think where Tommy got frustrated is, and I bet you it's true in one way, the plays that they count. So there were a series of plays that were negated by penalties at the end of the play.
Yes.
And I bet it doesn't count in the rep. So what ends up happening is a guy's out there for an inordinate period of time if there's an inordinate number of penalties.
Right, yeah.
So I think there was a stretch where there were 5 penalties at one point while Sperry was out there, and
so he gets to run them
again.
He
gets to run them again.
So he's running 14 plays.
And all of a sudden you hear Tommy a little bit like, "Hey, man."
Well, and he had one drive that they was the interception, that KJ Sampson interception. And I think they switched. Like
that was his one. It was a one-play drive. His interception. See you, Tommy.
And the first drive they stopped before the 4th down. I thought.
No, his first drive was when he broke out for that. Would have been he had a run on first down. He had a run on 3rd and 7. That would have been a first down, but they stopped it and they kicked a field goal. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like, I wanted more Tommy.
I did too. But I think maybe the difference is that he's learning this offense, but he's also been in the offense. I think they really are trying to get Sperry up to speed. And
well, if you're going to run your quarterback, you better have a competent backup.
And
they know that.
And what I was one of the eye-opening parts of that practice that I mentioned way too much to you guys at the time was I didn't realize Sperry. I mean, he's Castellanos-like athletically. I did not. And
we're hearing it, but it's until you see it.
Yeah, but like Brock Glenn can run fast from me to you. Like he can run fast for straight. But this is and he's a really good athlete. I'm not trying to take that away. An elite athlete compared to the human race. But Kevin Sperry is, I think, an elite athlete for a Division I college quarterback, much closer to Tommy Castellanos than like Luke Kromenhoek. And Luke could run straight. I didn't know that was part of his game. I knew he ran for a lot of yards, but a lot of high school quarterbacks run for a lot of yards because they're just bigger and faster. He's got that wiggle and that shake and a little moxie. I liked what I saw from him. And I also would say this. You guys there, you were watching it, and they were tackling, not the quarterbacks, but everybody else. So it's a little harder to judge. But my argument is that right now on this team, Tommy Castellanos is your best running back. He's your best runner. He's your most gifted, dynamic runner. If he was in the running back room, he'd be your guy.
No question.
I think Sperry might be number 2, which is a commentary on them. It's also a commentary on that room. There's not a lot to like or love, let's say, about that room.
I didn't love the running back room before. I didn't love it after Saturday. I do think that they're going to need Cromwell to come in and get ready.
There's just nothing special,
well,
man.
I will say this. No, I agree with you. I will say this, though. I want to take a little bit more of a wait-and-see approach with the running backs because, especially Cam Davis, because we saw him make a couple cuts that were not the right cut. Like, obviously.
Yes.
There could have been bigger gains than they were, but it's a pretty small sample size.
Yeah.
And he's still a young back, and he is learning a new offense. So I don't want to say that he can't be a guy. We'll see. You would think you would see it, and we didn't really see it. But also, it wasn't like they were getting stopped one-on-one in the open field. I mean, all those runs ended up being just swallowed after 4 yards.
They just didn't break anything out.
Right.
They didn't bust anything out. But what my biggest takeaway positively from the offense is what I wrote about and talked about on Wake Up is that there were a lot of 4-yard runs. There were no 11-yard runs. Literally, the longest run by a running back was 10 yards, and it was Jalen Lucas very at the beginning of practice. But
what bothered me the most about the backs last year, especially Cam, Roydell, and basically everybody there, and Jalen Lucas when he was out there, is they would be in the open field and go down one tackler.
Yes,
every single time.
Well, they didn't get in the open field.
I think Cromwell's a guy. I think we're hoping can be that guy. I think the tight end Pittman. Look, man, he's running over dudes. And so he's a guy, you don't have to always juke everybody, but you don't have to go down on first contact every time. And so I think the thing about Gus is, man, he's going to get the ball in the hands of the dudes who will do that. So
he's going to run the ball.
If you're not going to do that, I don't think you're going to play.
But I like it because Trey Mason had some big runs. Obviously, Jalen Ramsey, we remember that. But Trey Mason also would run 38 times for 166 yards. That's a lot of 3-yard runs. And 4-yard runs. That's what this offense is. It just goes quick.
Right.
And that's what my biggest takeaway is you could see the seedlings. Is it seedlings? Is that
saplings? Seedlings
a thing? Of that offense because you don't have great running backs. Most of your offensive line wasn't there. And your quarterback, who's your biggest running weapon, was in a green jersey. And you were still pushing the pile enough to get to 2nd and 6.
Yeah.
3rd and 2. 1st and 10. Go, go, go. You could see that there. You could see the infancy stages of something like that being built.
And I feel like a lot of the runs were behind the Pettibone, Medley, the UCF transfer. I mean, it's like some of their older, some of the guys that will be playing key roles that were available. Now you get those other guys back, man, this offense may look a whole lot different.
Yeah, that's why I kind of hold back too much judgment early on about any of it because they didn't have their 2 starting tackles. They didn't have any depth on the offensive line. They didn't have key components at wide receiver. Defense knew what was coming. I don't know. It's tough to take a lot from that scrimmage other than you do see the genesis of what they're going to build towards.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons that Malzahn has the success in terms of numbers running the football is that he's dedicated to it.
Mm-hmm.
And that I'm happy to see. I hate going away from the run just because you get stopped early on. He's not going to do that. He is going to run the ball up the middle. Tony White talked about this. He's going to, come hell or high water, he's going to do it over and over and over again. I don't know how flashy that it is. I don't know how compelling that'll be for fans, but if it's effective, that's all that matters. And so setting yourself up for 2nd and 6 and 3rd and 2 is a winning success. It's a formula that you can win a lot of games with.
Especially because you can keep going tempo.
Because you can go tempo. So I think you're right. That's what they're going to do. It would help if one of those backs was a little bit more special and got an extra couple of yards out of that situation as opposed to what we saw on Saturday. And maybe Cromwell will be that, and maybe one of the other guys will emerge when they get used to it. I think that's possible. But it's hard to know what they're going to be offensively other than the philosophy. Yeah. Because they didn't have Deuce, and they didn't have Luane McCoy, and they didn't have Squirrel White, and they were missing a lot of the explosive components. So if I'm a defender, and we saw this, and I've already seen this offense through a couple of weeks. I ain't too worried
about going over the top.
No, you're going east-west all day long. And so you saw guys jump routes. You saw guys be Johnny on the spot the second the ball was released because they knew where it was going.
And I asked Gus about it. I said, man, you're going up against the same defense. And he just kind of like chuckled. He's like, yeah, that's part of it.
Yeah,
it's part of it.
That'll happen. But I do think, circling back, Gus clearly really likes, really likes Sperry. And that's not to imply that he wants to start Sperry, but he clearly likes him. He has said he doesn't expound much of anything ever. And when he gets asked about Sperry, he does.
Sperry.
Pettibone and Sperry.
Those are his guys.
Those are his guys. He'll talk about those two.
I saw those 3 at Brewster's last night. I think Pettibone, Sperry, and Gus Malzahn just sitting there sharing a cone.
I think you can the fact that he brought Pittman and Medley from UCF, I think Javon Boggs was committed to him over there. I think they like him. So yeah, there are going to be his guys.
Pittman's a player.
And listen, man, those other running backs, and I thought Keziah Holmes was fine.
He looked okay, yeah.
Those guys, if you are not special in some way, you're not going to get a whole lot of carries unless somebody else is dinged up.
I'd expect a couple of those.
Well, look, right now, the special is the quarterback. He's your best runner, and he's a special runner. He's for a quarterback, for sure. He's a special runner. So I'm talking about Castellanos there. So that's another element that we didn't get to see at all. Like I just feel like in this offense, he's 50 or 60 yards rushing a game easily if he's healthy.
Yeah, man.
It has to be for them to succeed.
Right, because of the running back room. But if you have a great running back, a running quarterback eye, right? Like you don't need all that special at running back. Yeah.
I think, I think there are a couple of teams that will bottle that up. But I think if you're trying to get back to winning 8-9 games, then you know what you're trying to
are.
Listen,
man,
look at Florida State's rushing stats when Jordan was a quarterback.
Yep.
Right.
Their running backs, whoever it was, Trayshawn Ward across the board, they all averaged 6. That Lamarcus kid, the first year, whatever, they're going to average 6 yards a carry.
With Damian Webb.
Yeah,
Webb toe, man. The Seagulls.
Oh, I forgot.
Come on, dog. They're the best nickname of all time that never got to be played out.
But it didn't matter, man. Whoever they put at running back with Jordan was going to average 6 yards a carry.
Yeah.
Because you can't focus on that guy. You got to focus on Jordan.
I was watching a game, maybe it was the Duke game last year, a little highlight package of it. Maybe it was, or a Syracuse, one of the games from 2022, actually. And I forgot how many times Jordan would rip off a big run, like a 12, 15-yard run, and then slide really quickly.
Yeah.
Like he did that a lot.
Way early, if he,
But also, like, I don't really need Tommy Castellanos doing that.
Right.
Tommy Castellanos needs to turn a 12-yard gain. He can make another guy miss and turn it into a 30-yard gain. I mean, I know you don't want him to get hurt.
I didn't see him sliding against us.
I
ran home, bro.
2 years in a row. It would have been cool if he slid.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. I think that's fair on all accounts. I don't think
he's son of a bitch would never slide. I was tired of all those extra yards he was running. Good God, man. Get down, young man.
Yeah, please slide.
You got the first down. Slide already.
What's the matter with you?
Yeah, he killed us.
So what? After watching the scrimmage, if you had two positions, the portal opens back up in about a week, and they're probably going to add, I would hope, a couple of pieces. What are the two positions after watching the scrimmage that you think they absolutely have to go get something? And did anything change?
And one reminder also, and it wasn't a problem in that game, but you're down a couple of DBs that are probably going to be starters.
And they were missing a lot of guys.
It didn't get exposed because you didn't have your receivers to expose it, but so take that into consideration. Man.
Did anything change, or was it the same opinion? My opinion is still the same, but
if you think, the only thing I'll say this, and this was just me, I was just kind of defending the running backs.
I thought you might go there.
But if you think this is a team that could win 10 games or maybe win the ACC, and I don't know that it is, I wouldn't predict that it is. But if you're Mike Norvell, if you're Gus Malzahn, you think, man, we really could. You might think about a running back if one comes out, just because, like we said, there was nothing that seemed to be special.
You can prompt any of them to come out. You go behind the scenes. You can go prompt any running back in the country to get his ass in the portal.
The message can get out. Because, listen, man, I think the world of Usman Kroma, I think he's going to be a star. But if you think you're a 10 or 11 win team, are you going to bank on, he's definitely going to
especially first game Alabama? Like, that's the game. Anybody's going to run wild against Kent State. Like, who's going to be the starting? What's your starting running back going to be against Alabama?
I am always going to go the way of offensive and defensive line.
Yeah.
I don't think they have enough depth on the defensive line. And
that's my number one.
Yeah, it'd be my number one.
Might be my 1 and 2. But
I would just always
add
add that because it's easy to get injured at that position. It's a really hard position to get through the season with.
I think you might be able to pick up a running back
easier
economically, more than a defensive line.
Yeah, that is the problem. And by the way, you're going to overpay for anybody you get. It's the last portal opportunity you have to add to your roster. You're going to overspend for whoever it is. But if you're going to say that money doesn't matter.
Doesn't to us. Not our money.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, let's just put that aside for a second and say, all right, well, I'll overpay because I need to fill this position. I don't disagree. There's nothing special right now in the running back room at all. And I would say offensive, defensive line at all times. Just always. I like the starting 5 as it's currently projected, including those that were not there on Saturday.
I think they'll be much better than they were.
Much better. I agree
with that.
Listen,
one little thing, we talked about it when we were up on the catwalk. Should we play that song?
No.
When the one thing that we talked about was just you notice that helps the offense when the ball is snapped accurately.
Holy moly.
You're a good call.
There was only one average ass to below average snap. Everything else was executed perfectly. Like, I should celebrate that. Yeah. We should have led with that.
Yeah.
Holy moly, man.
Snaps to the groin. Snaps to the belt, snaps to the groin. They were never at ankles.
Man.
They weren't over the left shoulder.
It was almost, okay, if the test was you take 100 snaps, 99 of them were right.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
By 3 different centers, right?
More.
2 different centers.
I think I have PTSD from all the previous snaps that I witnessed in practice. That was just a snap-a-palooza of ass.
I mean, sometimes
over
they
and
couldn't
over
run
again.
plays.
They couldn't run a practice sometimes because of just rolling it back there, flipping it over your. I mean, it was embarrassing. Yeah, good point, Ira. We should have led with that. I'm usually filled with negativity. Holy moly, they can snap it, guys.
That's like Gus. When Gus was asked afterwards about what he liked in the scrimmage, he's like, well, the running backs didn't fumble. It's like, all right, that's faint praise, but I know that's a big deal.
Yeah, but Corey, I think that is a rhetorical question. You know, he didn't think anything.
Right, but I think it's just funny that he said that. And then also you saying, well, how was somebody asking you, how was the scrimmage? Snaps were great. The snaps were right there every time, guys.
It matters that you can snap the effing ball, man. That's
What'd you guys think of? Let's talk about a couple of the freshmen, because the Arnaud kid,
I like him.
Man, he's
got a little
looks like he's
to
gonna be
him.
a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I think he's a.
They challenged him immediately and immensely with a 6'7" kid. He won it all 3 times.
I like the way Tony talked about that. He's like, yeah, they went at our freshman duty 3 straight times. Did he catch anything? I mean, he was. Tony White's got some attitude to him. I know I accentuate it when I recount what he says, but I can feel it. I feel the vibe.
You get the gist of what he's saying.
I'm a big Tony guy.
Yeah, me too. I hope his defense is good.
Well, here's the thing. We don't know if the personnel will be good enough to be good, but we do know they're going to run hard. They're going to swarm to the football. They're going to have an attitude. They're going to play hard. Man, just give me that. I'll live with it.
We don't know that. But we absolutely think that's going to happen, which is better than where we were, right? We don't know that yet because we haven't seen it yet.
Well, like I said, I don't know if they'll be good. I just think they're going to play hard and they're going to swarm to the football.
Yeah, I do too. I hope that comes to fruition, and I do think that's what he instills on that side of the ball. Right. Exactly. They did it in a scrimmage. They're pursuing. It's really good. That was one of my takeaways too. Is just how all those crazy screen passes in all different directions. Defensive linemen are chasing their balls off to get downfield, even if it's an 8-yard gain. It's not a 30-yard gain.
Omar Graham did that all practice. Deserves credit for that. Listen, again, even in the secondary, I know they were missing some guys, but Earl Little is flying around trying to hit people. I mean, even at the end of plays, I love it. Don't be standing around a pile. You're going to get hit.
Here's one more question. If the benefactor came to Florida State and is like, I got $15 million that I want to give you guys for one player around the country.
You get
one player. He's not in the portal yet, but this will get him in the portal, and he's coming to Florida State. My vote is Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think
none of us said wide receiver 3 minutes ago
because none of them practiced. And
I'm saying what's his WAR? Like, is it 3? You get 2 extra wins with him, probably.
Here's the problem. He's not. Well, I mean, look.
No, I know that's not happening. I'm saying, but I mean, Florida State does have rich boosters, and guys, I guess I'm issuing a challenge. Well, see if you can get Jeremiah Smith to Tallahassee.
If you're not going to spend the $5 million to get the Alabama game canceled, consider this.
Triple it,
or throw
and you're going to win
players over to basketball so they can compete.
But you will beat Alabama with Jeremiah Smith. You're going to beat Alabama.
2 headliner questions forthcoming. Pie in the sky. Corey will be back with us as well.
The best happy hour in the city is at Café de Martín and El Bar. All day, every day, you can find great deals at Café de Martín while enjoying the best outdoor seating Tallahassee has to offer. Sip away on 2-for-1 house wines, chilcanos, and margaritas all day long, Monday through Thursday. Plus 2-for-1 pisco sours and margaritas on Fridays and Saturdays, and 2-for-1 mimosas for Sunday brunch. Come join us at Café de Martín, where every hour is happy hour, in the Esposito Shopping Center on Capitol Circle Northeast.
Ain't nothing but a G-pop, baby.
I am 99% sure that is not how the lyrics go.
Well, you like remixes, right?
Of course.
Well, think of this as a Grassroots Coffee remix per se, because Grassroots Coffee is now in the single-serve coffee pod game.
Dude, those single-serve coffee pods and cups are weak sauce.
Not Grassroots Coffee G-Pods. They have more coffee in them than regular single-serve pods and cups.
Seriously?
And not only do they have more coffee, they have a built-in filter for better brewing. They fit in most Keurig machines, and they are fully compostable.
It's still the small batch, slow roasted coffee you love. So go to grassrootscoffee.com and get your box of G-Pods today.
Baby.
See? Remix.
Well, actually, that's more of an homage.
Grassroots Coffee, locally owned, locally roasted, and made for everyone, loved everywhere.
Grassroots Coffee G-Pods. So very good.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention, which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them, the right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Many orthodontists in Tallahassee can straighten a smile, but at Birch Orthodontics, they're dedicated to providing the finest care possible. The experienced and friendly staff is trained in all of the latest techniques. So whether you need standard treatment like braces or Invisalign, or you have a more complicated case requiring extra attention, Birch Orthodontics is here for you. Set up your free consultation today by visiting birchorthodontics.com, BURCH orthodontics.com, or call 850-877-1692. At Birch Orthodontics, they create beautiful smiles that last.
This is Real Talk 93.3. You're listening to Seminole Headlines with Ira, Corey, and Jeff. Stay tuned for more headlines coming up next. Your sports action update on Real Talk 93.3 with all the latest odds from Vegas.
Atlanta Braves have dropped 8 of 9 to start the season. Chris Sale on the mound today, $1.20 favorite against Zach Wheeler of the Phillies, plus 107 over the total at Truist Park. Coming up on Thursday, the Masters at Augusta National gets underway. Scotty Scheffler is a 4-1 favorite, minus 120 to finish in the top 5, minus 250 to finish in the top 10. Rory McIlroy plus 650, John Rahm 13-1. Florida wins the national championship, beating Houston 65-63 as a 1-point favorite in San Antonio. The Gators open 25-1 to repeat as champion. $250 bonus, and you open up a G-Bank Visa signature card. Visa.com/GBank. Mike Son at Real Talk 93.3.
Springfest at Lowe's means can't miss savings for your home and lawn. Right now, buy 3 bags, get 3 free on Miracle-Gro 3/4 cubic foot all-purpose garden soil. Plus, buy 2, get 1 free on select exterior paint and stain via mail-in rebate. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid to 4/16, excludes Alaska and Hawaii. While supplies last, selection varies by location. See rebate form for complete list of eligible products. Offer excludes clearance and mist tints and can't be combined with any other offer, promotion, discount, or coupon.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness could come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com, sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Your body is a masterpiece designed to heal itself from within. Learn how to maximize your health by tuning in to Phenomenal Health with me, Dr. Ryan Finn. Saturdays at 2:30. Experience true health today and call Finn Chiropractic at 386-7700.
All right, about that time to upgrade my iPad and my Apple Gear. How much memory do I need? What upgrade should I get? What size screens? How many chargers do I need? USB-C, USB-D, mini USB, USB-B, ABC, 1, 2, 3?
If only there was a local business that can guide you and help you understand what you need and get you the best pricing possible. Oh, wait, that's what they do at Mac & More Systems. Get help buying the right gear for the right price and have it shipped directly to their store for pickup, all at no extra cost. That's the kind of service you won't get at any big box store. Shop local at Mac & More Systems. Find out more online at macandmoresystems.com.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
It's time for Seminole Headlines, featuring Warchant.com's Jeff Cameron, managing editor Ira Schofel, and senior writer Corey Clark. Your weekly dose of all things FSU, pistols and pies starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
Hour number 2, Seminole Headlines, headliner questions coming your way in mere moments. I'm Jeff. There's Corey and Ira as always, and we thank Dr. Birch Orthodontics to start the hour. As we're wont to do, we appreciate her and her staff and their support of Seminole Headlines. Each and every week, we get the honor of mentioning that. I do know that there's a retainer check soon, guys. At some point, I'll be in that office soon. Yeah, there'll be a retainer check.
I think Dr. Birch, I think it's got to be 21 or 22 years now. When was the 20th anniversary? Was that last year or the year before?
A couple of years ago, right?
So
when we did all the promotion of the stuff she was giving back to the community.
I can't wait till the 25th anniversary. I think we got to do it.
That's the platinum, right?
Big.
25th platinum?
Sounds good.
50
diamond something.
No,
good. So she's been doing it as long as Leonard was the head coach here, is what we're saying.
Yeah, and she's here
with better results. No offense, Leonard, but better results. You win. Heather Birch wins championships every year
in the Final Four every year.
Yeah, and winning it.
Yeah.
Dr. Birch is awesome. All of our kids have gone there. Friends of ours have gone there. So many people. One of the cool things about us having the relationship with Birch Orthodontics for all these years is how many people will come up to us and say, oh, man, my kids went there too. Had a great experience. You never hear anything bad. Everybody loves it. Nope. They do a great job. All the latest techniques, more than just braces. They do all the latest techniques. And you can go get a free consultation. They take hard cases. My daughter's case, my oldest, the first one.
Clark Cameron's case.
We thought she was going to need jaw surgery, which is very scary for a 12-year-old anybody. But certainly my daughter was very concerned about it.
Yeah.
We were too. And they ended up working with it, and we didn't have to do the surgery. They do awesome work. Go to birchorthodontics.com, BURCH orthodontics.com, and you can set up your free consultation. They do payment plans. Just awesome institution.
You know, I didn't realize that some of the new techniques, guys, you'll find this out. They stab your gums with a needle.
Yeah.
It's really remarkable how it works.
Wow.
I would have never guessed that was the latest. I'm kidding, everybody.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's try to sell people to go. Nobody's going to ever want to go in there.
Like a big thick needle?
Yeah, just stab it. Just stab. It's crazy how it works. Drew, you're right about this. Corey's going to jump on board with this. We know this, and it's frustrating. But Drew writes, good afternoon, gentlemen and yay sausage. By my count, there have been 4 one-loss Florida State teams that I think certainly would have won the national championship had there been a playoff in place. We could have stopped there. Obviously, you and I know 87, 88, 92, 97. They would have won the national championships that year. It's actually not close. They would have dominated those games.
Not convinced about 97. Definitely convinced about the other ones.
I thought 97 definitely would have.
I mean, they had their chance. It was right there.
But it's the Florida game on the road, and it's.
But they knew what they were playing. My point is,
everybody gets their chance now.
They knew what they were playing for. That was essentially a playoff game, and they lost it. And that's the kind of caliber. Like, that wasn't even a good Florida team.
No, it was a Florida team that figured out the chip, and then obviously we were in the wrong defense late and did a lot of stupid things like not go for it down in the red. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff that the team wasn't always well coached. Just saying. Little frustration there, but those would have been championship years in my estimation.
I definitely think 87, 92, absolutely 100%. 88 too as well.
Yeah. Andrew writes, hope everyone's well.
And 2023. Let's throw that in there.
I don't know about guaranteeing a championship.
No chance Rodemaker's losing to Michigan. No chance.
Andrew writes, I hope everyone's well. Anything on Charles Lester? Seems quiet. Yet another highly touted recruit. Just kind of curious.
I think he's had a pretty good try. I haven't heard anything like he's been unbelievable, but I haven't heard anything bad either.
Yeah, he was out there. He's running around doing things. Yeah. And he didn't have an interception on Saturday, but he didn't give up any big plays, did he, Ira?
No.
Because they didn't have any. So he didn't give up any big plays. I think they like him. I think they talk about him and I think Kai Bates. And
when you're looking at the guys competing for the starting cornerback job, those two openings, I mean, Jabril Rawls, I think he's had a really good spring. I think he's got a good chance. Quindarius Jones has a really good chance. Charles Lester, Kai Bates.
They got options.
They've got some options there. I'm going to throw a dark horse team.
Ricky Knight too, by the way, like that kid.
Any chance the 2012 team, if they get into a playoff, make some noise? That was a great defense, man.
Yeah.
That was a great defense.
It was.
Talk about some poor coaching.
It just
kept them out of
that Florida game. They struggled to stop the run, which was a bummer. But I can tell you what, if they open up the playoffs with Northern Illinois, you're in, baby.
Huskies. Yeah, they probably win a couple playoff games. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. They're in the. That was a fun team.
But those teams that we're relating to now, for sure. I mean, come on, man. Those teams were loaded. Panama Noel writes, hello, gentlemen. Is it time for a certain 5-star wide receiver to just put his hand in the dirt on either side of the ball? It doesn't seem like there are glowing reviews about him.
We're going to put Hakeem at defensive end?
Well, maybe tight end. I don't know what he's saying there, but
quit coming off the edge now. Too early for that.
We're on year 3.
What do you mean too early? Corey?
No, too early to say let's switch positions, Hakeem.
I don't think
this is obviously the make or break year for Hakeem Williams.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody about him recently, not a coach, but just somebody who's familiar with his situation, his recruitment, kind of his development.
I want to hear this.
And they were saying that, listen, it was really unfortunate for him that he played such a bad high school. The high school he played for was terrible. So he never got coached to be a receiver, just ran deep. And he was other high schools, the good high schools in South Florida kept trying to get him to transfer which would have been good for. In hindsight, he should have done that. But he stayed there because he was
good for him to stay there too.
It was admirable. He liked the school. He liked his friends.
He just ruined his career, but still, he showed some loyalty.
So he didn't really get coached. Then he comes here and between injuries,
didn't really get coaching
and
again.
Not very good coaching, probably.
Right. Yeah,
I think it's safe to say at this point, just have stunted his growth, and so he's had a long way to go and hasn't been on the fast track because of those situations. Now maybe. You just want to see him give it some time. They're going to invest the time in him because of his natural ability.
Well, he looks the part.
He looks the part.
He does.
Back to the point though, I will say this, and I've just defended Hakeem, but what you were just saying when you were talking about Brock Glenn and his speed versus Kevin Sperry's speed, I think that's like Hakeem Williams versus a Deuce Robinson in the sense of Hakeem's big and strong and fast. I don't know if he's got that fluidity that
he doesn't seem, at least what we've watched, and we watched a lot of practices, you more than I, but like he doesn't seem to get a lot of separation.
Right.
He's probably timed faster than Johnny Wilson. He's obviously not as big as Johnny Wilson, but I bet he's faster. I bet he's as strong. Johnny Wilson would get separation. Deuce Robinson gets separation. He's always struggled a little bit in my mind getting that separation.
Now, part of that could be the rawness, but maybe
could be twitchiness, maybe lacking twitchiness.
So
I think that's fair,
but probably not defensive end or tight end.
No, it's frustrating because what happens is when you're labeled and you're given the 5-star ranking, if it doesn't happen, people are left to wonder, well, how the hell is he a 5-star? But not all 5 stars are built the same. Right. To your point, kind of laying it out there that he was at a sorry school that threw it up. He got the bulk of the reception, scored a bunch of touchdowns, and they projected him to be elite, but he didn't have the tools to go with. Right now, he doesn't look like he's taking a big step forward from what we can tell, or what I can tell anyhow. So hopefully that happens.
Adam in the chat says, so what you're saying is we wasted a scholarship on an underdeveloped player. No, what I would say is there's a huge upside to a guy like that. You look at him physically and say, listen, I mean,
most people that join your roster are underdeveloped. Right. They're 18-year-olds. They're coming out of high school. That your job is to make them better, develop them. You get a lot of clay. Some clays are better than others, but you got to mold it. And even if it was underdeveloped clay. That's a thing, right? That was the name of my band.
Underdeveloped Clay.
Underdeveloped clay.
Yeah,
I don't know if undercooked clay.
No, it's underdeveloped.
Oh,
It was
a
okay.
little
underdeveloped.
folky,
Yeah, a lot of coffee shops.
Yeah,
in between spoken poetry.
And you can look at everything two different ways, because Javon Boggs was under recruited for the same reason, in the sense that people thought he was overdeveloped. Like that's as good as he's going to get.
Can't win.
Yeah,
what is a perfect amount of development?
He doesn't have super speed. He's not. This is as good as he's going to be. Whereas Malzahn and the receivers coach were like, "Yeah, man, we love him."
Yeah, I like that kid. That kid's going to play a lot, I think.
Justin writes, does FSU have the best shortstop tandem in the country? Both Lodis and Torres are automatic in the field.
Gotta be.
And have been great at the plate.
When you add in hitting,
yeah,
gotta be.
it's gotta be. Yeah, because Torres, I think, leads the country in hits, or is close. Lodis, I think, is close to leading the country in hits.
Is Oklahoma's shortstop really
I mean,
good?
I'm sure she's incredible. I'm sure she's hitting 730.
How's the men's baseball?
Yeah, but I bet he's not as good as Lodis.
Yeah.
Probably not.
It's a great question. It's a great. It can't be anybody else. Literally
Shortstop
can't
you.
be. Like, I think Issa Torres is the best shortstop in the country. I would say through 30 games, Alex Lodis has proven to probably be the best shortstop.
Now, Corey, you watch, and I'll credit you with this, certainly much more than I watch. But I don't know that you can go out on a limb and say that she's the best shortstop in the country.
Yeah, I can.
You've watched all those other softball teams? You've seen
I'm
all
dialed
the
in.
other
Yeah,
women?
what are you doing at night? Because I'm watching replays.
Why would that stop him?
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's hitting 430. He leads, and she's a really good fielder. So, I can't be anybody better. Let's put it that way.
I like it. David writes, I realize it's early yet, but any word on whether we can count Luke Scully's?
That's funny. That was Leonard's thing. And
don't count my scholars.
I also don't think that Luke is going to flood his roster with a bunch of dudes that want to play. You know what I mean? Like, I think he's going to have 8 or 10 that are going to be his guy. Like Leonard, I feel like Leonard sometimes played so many guys because he loved them and thought, he could be something too.
He just loved that idea of wearing people.
Yeah, I don't think Luke's going to be that guy. So I don't think Luke's going to need a full roster. He's going to have his 8 or 10 guys, and then maybe friends of the program, like that kid from Syracuse that I looked up.
Perhaps
that
shrink
walk
the
on. You
rotation.
remember him?
Yeah. How about we shrink the rotation?
So there's a kid on Syracuse's team that's a walk on that I looked up. That he's on the Syracuse basketball team. He averaged 8 points a game as a senior, but he's a walk on. Obviously, his dad is the CEO of the biggest healthcare company in New York.
You think he gives to their NIL?
No doubt. And again, that's how Luke has to do it. Go find a huge donor who has a
Harry
grandson.
Smith's son is 5'11", 160.
He averaged 9 points a game.
JV.
Yeah.
And you know what? He's on our team. He's a Scully guy.
Yep. But even give him a scholarship. Who cares? Get money.
This is a fair question. I knew it was going to come, and I hinted at it earlier, but this one's not self-pitying. It's just something where you got to ask the question. Do you think that Florida winning another championship in basketball makes this administration want to expedite the process of leaving this sorry-ass league?
They couldn't be more expedited.
Oh, let's go.
I don't know if there's any more fire you can put in their buttholes. Is that?
Probably
should
not phrased in the way
that wasn't eloquent, was it?
Yeah,
that was the other band you had.
Yeah,
fire in the butthole.
They're not sophisticated, but they're an awful lot of fun.
It's fun.
It's a fun
and you know
time.
what you're getting. You know what you're getting when you see that poster.
Yeah, fire in the butthole.
Fire in the butthole. 9:30. 9:30 to 11.
Yeah, they're at the 10 rim tonight. Are we going to roll by? Fire in the buttholes. Come on at 11.
People are like, is it buttholes or butthole?
No, it's butthole. It's singular. Come on, it's singular.
Thanks for coming out tonight to Fire in the Butthole.
FRD, baby.
Without further ado. Dear Sausage Fest writes, Clint, is it time to point 2 fingers at Micah Posey yet? The current pitching situation ain't cutting it.
I know our fans on our message boards and on Twitter.
Done. They are done.
They've lost you, Micah.
There's always that gray area between how much to blame the coach, how much to blame the players. Obviously there's blame to go around. I would like some of them to just, maybe compete, throw
Stop
strikes.
walking people.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be fun. But at the same time, if you're not going to judge a pitching coach for how his players perform, then why do you have a pitching coach?
So here's the thing. I never pitched. I have an opinion about a pitching staff that's pitching well or poorly, right? I think most people, right?
Sure.
I like Micah Posey. I love talking to him.
I think we all do. He's a really good guy.
Really good guy. I love when I interview him, I learn something. Every time we talk pitching, I learn several things. So I have no doubt.
And you can tell he's very
analytical.
He's got a
very hard
thinking mind. Yeah.
So I can say all those things are true. Just like I can say it's true that you have every right to be furious as a Florida State fan when you watch this bullpen at work. I mean, what the hell? It's a
disaster. They've walked more.
Yes, I do.
They've walked more than their opponents now. They've walked more people than their opponents have walked them. They have 143 walks on the season. I looked it up. Like the other than the 5 innings pitch that Jamie Arnold didn't. Jamie Arnold's
I
pitch,
know this stat.
It was, I don't even remember what it was, but it was like 37 innings pitched, 54 hits, 41 walks. So that's 95 base runners in 37 innings.
Yeah,
it's 52 runs in 37 innings.
Absolutely unacceptable.
That's how you get outscored 29-2
Yeah.
your last 2 games.
You get run ruled twice at home on a weekend where
embarrassing.
everybody's abuzz about a big weekend ACC series.
That was an embarrassing 2-game stretch. Again, you got to put it in context though, because it's baseball. Georgia got swept. Florida got swept at home.
Well,
Tennessee
Florida
got swept
every weekend.
Tennessee got swept in a doubleheader. Like there are really good baseball teams that go through bad moments. It's just and Tennessee even got run ruled one of those games. But to get outscored 29-2 in 2 straight games in a weekend.
To Corey's point though, and it should be
that's embarrassing.
Florida's 1-11 in the SEC. They're 6 games over 500 on the season. They're in danger of not making the SEC tournament.
They shouldn't have made the NCAA tournament last year.
And then they were one of the last 4 standing.
Yeah.
So it is possible to put it together and go on a run if the clay, Corey, as you say,
the molded clay
is moldable. Can you turn it into something? My question is, I see an awful lot of arms where he maintains, and I heard he got testy LinkedIn with Aslan at the end of the Q&A at the end of the weekend.
It was fine.
I'm not mad at him. He's like, do you think? I mean, he's clearly frustrated.
Yeah.
Is all it revealed to me.
I was just like, we just got pasted 2 days in a row. Am I concerned at all about playing Florida and then 3 games at Virginia Tech, who just swept the team that just kicked our ass? Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
was that his answer?
Well, Aslan was a little.
Aslan said, you don't have a whole lot of time. You don't have a lot of time now. You got to play Florida Tuesday down there. Plus, you got Virginia Tech this weekend. How important it or whatever is it to turn this around quickly? And he's like, you think?
Okay.
I was a little frustrated. He's not normally that way, is why I thought that. And I was like, okay, it's clearly getting to him. I do wonder the conversations that Link and Micah are having right about now. And I'm not sure.
Well, man, he's got to talk to himself, too, because that offense stinks.
Well, those 2 games.
That was a bad weekend.
It's not like last year when they went to Clemson and got swept because the bullpen was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
This was,
this was a full.
It wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah, even if you only gave up 5 runs. But I wouldn't say the offense stinks.
Well,
the offense
last 2
stunk.
days.
The offense stunk the whole weekend. They scored 7 runs. But
the bullpen looked good when they were playing nobody.
Yeah,
that's a criticism to me. Back to the head coach of, listen, man, there's a reason to schedule some better teams early in the season.
Yeah.
Because now you don't have that fear of throwing strikes. I think look, man, those kids, it's when pitchers walk people too much, it's not usually because they just can't throw a strike. So they don't really want to throw it over the plate because they know it's going to get crushed. So they try to play too much outside, and then once teams are spitting on it, then there's nothing you can do.
Wake has been in the top 10 in walks, garnering walks in the nation. 3 of the last 4 years. So they're very patient.
They're not chasing.
They're not going to chase, and they're going to make you throw that. Show you that you can throw a secondary pitch for a strike before they decide to change their.
Yeah, approach. But there was Jacksonville and Notre Dame too. They're walking everybody.
No. The complaint is fair. I mean, they've got problems there. This is why I think the question to them is it stuff? Is it mentality? Is it something else? Like, do you think they've got a bunch of guys with good stuff that just, for whatever reason, are scared to throw it? Because I don't think they have a bunch of guys with great stuff.
They don't have guys with that kind of stuff.
Great stuff, then they would challenge everybody.
Correct.
But they're not.
So you get into recruiting a little bit there.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is all everything, man. This is not. That's what I'm saying. That's why when you ask specifically about Micah Posey, it's just like when people hear about injuries after the scrimmage and they want to go right after the strength and conditioning coach. It's like, man, there's a lot of people. Nobody has complete control over anything. I don't think Micah Posey would be the reason they're struggling.
I do. It's a fascinating question because they're both hard workers. They're both thorough. So they've got to be at their wits' end watching this bullpen because it's not watchable.
Yeah.
I mean, one guy after that, it's just not even watchable. You're like, well, here we go again. I mean, that game went from 2-2 in the 4th or 5th inning.
Yeah.
It's 2-2.
And then they hit 2 2-run homers, and they're 2-run homers because the guys in front walked.
Yeah. It's infinitely aggravating. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Widden Glass has been taking care of business since 1945. When you call Widden Glass, you're dealing with experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best. Like Widden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures that provide style and luxury at an affordable price. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Widden Glass. We'll help you design it and install it. Wooden Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
There's nothing like relaxing in a hot tub after a long day. But if you don't have one, you're truly missing out. Hot tubs and spas have tremendous health benefits, besides just helping you relax. Like improving your sleep, they help with pain relief. They help to better your cardiovascular health, and so much more. And this season is the perfect season to finally buy what you've been wishing for. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas has the hot tubs you need for the price you want. Come shop our huge 12,000 square foot showroom and save today. There's over 50 hot tubs in stock right now, so you won't have to wait weeks on end for that delivery to finally come to town. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come visit our huge showroom at 2473 Greer Road with over 50 hot tubs to choose from. You'll be glad you did.
Hey everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansfornoles.com. That is, again, loansfornoles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Noles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansfornoles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansfornoles.com.
Equal housing with NMLS 373031.
Hey, let me tell you about my friends at Tried and True Consulting, a Seminole-owned business that specializes in payments and business solutions. Tried and True's core expertise includes card, ACH, point of sale, mobile, e-commerce, and hosted payment solutions. Tried and True will help you reduce costs and increase your bottom line. That always sounds nice. Whether you're a retailer, restaurant, licensed professional, or service industry, Tried and True is saving you money. Tried and True's expertise extends to payroll, video menu ad boards, IT services, web design, and social media. It's time to make one call and tell the competition to take it on down the road. Call Don or Joe today at 844-464-6653. That's 844-464-6653. When you do business with Tried and True, they contribute 10% of the net revenue to the battle's end. So go Tried and True today. Call 844-464-6653.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Let's keep it rolling here, boys. Get to some more questions. Got one. Do you have insight to the kind of work the author of this says Papuchis did with Jordan Travis? I think does he mean Tokars?
Yes. He definitely doesn't mean Papuchis.
I don't think he means Papuchis. But anyhow, that's what he wrote.
Papuchis didn't do anything with that kid.
That is correct. To help develop him.
We always complained about it.
Yeah. Why don't you get him on special
away
teams?
from these defensive ends and special teams and do something over here with the quarterback to help develop into a better thrower? We all know that JT's biggest weakness coming in was that as a passer. And
He must mean Tokars.
Yeah, he's got to mean Tokars.
Yeah, man, I think he definitely was part of it. To me, it's all three of them get credit. I mean, Norvell, Kenny Dillingham, and Tony Tokars. I mean, I think they all get a lot of credit.
And also the kid, Jordan Travis, gets credit.
Obviously.
You know, it's just like how much it's so hard to like judge like what the Nuggets just fired their flipping head coach.
Yeah,
like
won a championship in 23.
Yeah, and they have the best player in the world, and they're like the number 4 or 5 seed, and he gets fired 3 games before the playoffs.
I think that best player in the world came like that though. I'm not going to say that my man.
He developed.
No, but I'm saying are they losing games because of him, or are they losing games because of the GM and what he did with the roster? They both got fired, so I guess I'm
going to go with the GM who let key pieces from the championship team go.
Yep.
Jason writes, "Hey guys, Jason in Charlotte here, trying to figure out the best way to word this question." Oh,
here we go.
There it is. No, not bad at all. Not bad at all. If you could have eliminated one thing not to have happened to our athletic program, would it be the 2020 season and the possible deep run into the tournament, or the playoff committee snub? Which are you more angry or upset about? When we got snubbed for football, or when the 2020 season didn't happen because of a pandemic?
The 2020 thing is just more of a bummer. It's a huge bummer.
It's actually, now that we know how things have played out, it's devastating.
Yeah.
It's a weird.
Could have gone to the Final Four very easily.
Yeah, but there's no guarantee, right? Like,
there's not.
I think the guarantee with this one is Florida State was in the Final Four in football. They made it. They earned it. They advanced to it, and they still got left out. It would be like Ham cutting down the nets after winning the regional, and then they're like, no, we're going to let Alabama, who lost in the second round, go back and take your spot. Like, that's why that will always make me angrier, is because of it's angrier.
One affected the integrity of the sport. The other was a disaster, a pandemic. So you can't blame a committee for what happened in 2020. So that's tough to stomach. It cheated the kids. It cheated the program.
There's
cheated
not really
the
anybody
university.
to be mad about.
Right. But what?
Norvell did lose some goodwill the very next year, though. Like, that's why, I'm looking at Leonard. I'm like, maybe I would have rather Leonard gotten his chance at a Final Four.
We would have all loved that.
Yeah.
B, I believe that Florida State team, the way it was constructed,
had
a chance to win the national title.
Yeah. And I had a conversation on text just like 2 or 3 weeks ago with a friend of ours that is very knowledgeable about basketball, and he was saying, "Yeah, man, they also lost a couple of tournament games that they had no business losing, like Wisconsin or whatever." And I'm like, "Yeah, man, I got you. The difference is this team, to your point."
Dude, Trent Forrest wasn't having that nonsense.
And they were so equipped to handle anything you threw at them.
And they had NBA players.
When they lost to Cincinnati that year.
Slapped on the hand.
Yeah, they had no NBA players on that team.
And they didn't have guards that could handle that style of play.
Trent would have bitch-slapped those kids.
Well, look, even if somebody making that point would not think that Leonard Hamilton was a very good coach, which is fine. You're allowed to have that. You're allowed to have that opinion, and his resume isn't impeccable. But I guess even to those people that think, Leonard would have screwed it up, I think that team, if you hold that opinion, I think that team was Leonard proof. Like, it was built in such a way.
I kind of think so too.
Trent Forrest and Devin Vassell, and even a guy like MJ Walker, if he's healthy. Patrick Williams, you had 7-footers that were mean. You had athleticism. You had Malik Osborne, Raekwon Gray. Like, it was just it was a team that almost would just have to get really unlucky. They were not going to be coached into a loss. They might just get really unlucky, or it gets incredibly hot.
Yeah, but I will say this too.
Football's still football.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's no right answer or wrong answer.
It's like picking one of your kids.
Yeah.
It's between picking your least two favorite
kids. I was looking forward to that 2020 kid. I like that kid, man. I wanted him to have his chance. He worked hard.
They did get to cut down a net, at least. That was their last game. They got to cut down a net in front of a lot of fans.
Nathaniel writes, I know info is limited, but have you guys heard any whispers this spring about how Amari Williams has done? He's one of the most intriguing young prospects I've seen in a long while, and I'm very interested in his development and use on defense, given the potential he already has on offense.
There's whispers, and we also saw him.
We did.
Yeah, man, he's really good.
Yeah.
I wonder if they don't go after a defensive end in the portal. Is it because of him?
It could
be. You think that's why this is kind of cool. It does give you the right context of what your roster is. If you like, I would always think they should add some depth, but spending the amount of money to go get a really good one, you're like, well, is he as good as what we already have? Because he isn't. Let's spend it on that running back.
Yeah, and I wondered a little bit about him because he's still he was a high school tight end last year.
Yes, correct.
He's put on size, but he's still not built like a Jared Verse or something like that. But I do think, just talking to somebody with knowledge of the defense, sometimes the measurables in this defense, one of the positives to this defensive scheme is the measurables aren't always that important because you're not lined up man on man against some 6'6", 320-pound offensive tackle.
Right.
They are moving you around all the time.
260, 265.
So now your speed and agility and things like that really can come into play. Man, that Amari Williams is a phenomenal athlete. I mean, he is the one everybody's giving KJ Sampson love rightfully for the interception in the pick six, but he is the one that deflected it. And I think right off the beginning of the scrimmage, he had 2 or 3 pass rushes that it's like, okay.
Well, and the fact that he diagnosed it so quick, he's not played that position a ton in college to jump up like that when he did. It was all like kind of instinctual stuff that bodes well.
But I'd like to see him on some passing downs too, man, because he's a special on both sides of the ball.
I think on a team in which you're searching for special, he is easily identifiable as separate from everybody else.
He's the next Travis Hunter.
Spencer, I've whittled it down, Ira, to just a couple. Spencer says, how is the Florida basketball program so far ahead of FSU? I'm assuming money has a large part to do with this, but is it more than that? How lacking is FSU's basketball's facilities, operations, compared to, say, Florida's? Aside from NIL, what would FSU have to do to get back to being a decent basketball program?
Can I posit something here before you answer? Billy Donovan is a much, much, much better coach in the college game than Leonard Hamilton was. Is it? Can we just say that? Like, is that the answer?
No, I don't think there's any argument to that.
It wasn't like Florida. I know they'd been to a Final Four, but Florida State had too.
Lon Kruger was doing some things.
And Florida State got close with Pat Kennedy to go into a Florida and Florida State's basketball programs were pretty much the exact same until Billy Donovan took over.
This is why people are frustrated. They're like, wait a minute, that's not a bastion of effing basketball greatness. Until you hired a great coach, just like Florida State football wasn't great at football until they hired Bobby Bowden. Billy Donovan was their Bobby Bowden, and he forever changed the way that program is viewed. So what you're saying is Luke Laux is about to do
he's going to be your Billy Donovan. Like this title that Florida just won is because they have more money. I think Golden's a good coach. I don't think any of the other title, Billy Donovan wasn't winning money because he went and spent a lot of dollars on Joakim Noah and I don't think Al Horford and they weren't
that
huge.
was a good team.
It was a great team.
Yeah, great team.
But they weren't all McDonald's All-American.
Billy had some connections.
Connections. Yeah, but he was really good at what he did.
And listen, man, at the end of the day, you have to be able to, even in the era before NIL, when there was still NIL, you had to have a coach that could get people to spend that kind of money.
Yeah.
And so, man, and not only did they have that team, but then somehow it makes no freaking sense before NIL, unless they had their own NIL. They all came back.
Yeah.
I mean, that was insane.
Yeah. And believe me, I expressed that.
And that's that. But in terms of like looking at it right now,
and he also got into the Elite Eight like 4 other times, the Final Four twice. But I'm saying like he's a college football. Yeah. He's a college. He just got elected to the Hall of Fame, and he just got inducted to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, aren't they like the number 1 or number 2 record in the NBA?
No, you're thinking he's with the Thunder. He got fired. No, he's with the Bulls, and they are not doing well.
All right. Well, maybe it wasn't you, Billy.
Maybe.
But no, the other thing I would say though is when you look at the question was about facilities and money and how much of that is. Listen, Florida just redid their O'Connell Center.
Yes.
I mean, within the last 4 or 5 years, spent a ton of money in it. And it's a brand new facility. The basketball facility is part of it. Florida State still got the BTC, which was built over 20 years ago and was not state of the art when it was built.
My complaints.
The Tucker Center, they did put some money into it several years ago, but that's
changed the seating.
It's close to 10 years ago now.
Yeah, the way that whole system operates is silly.
So yeah, man, there's some challenges there, and the money from the SEC is different from the money in the ACC.
But that's now, right?
That's what I'm saying. Let's talk about now.
Yeah, right now, that's their biggest advantage is the money they have. The last 25 years, their sole advantage, because it's not like they have a great basketball fan base.
No, man.
And that arena sucked too.
Yes.
They got Billy Donovan. They got a Hall of Fame coach.
I mean, they made a great hire when he was on the come up. Like,
yes,
you can do that.
Yes, correct. That's what I'm saying. They didn't go hire him from UCLA. They hired him from Marshall. Yeah. So they just got really lucky. They made a really good hire and kept him for 15 years.
And then made some good decisions along the way, such as like changing the way that the seating worked and that you can actually make an environment at the O'Connell Center that's very intimidating. Yeah. It's on top of the floor.
Listen, man, the administration at FSU will act like it's a non-starter. They're never going to put the students on the court. Well, listen, man, the environment's never going to be what some of these other environments
And you know who started that, Ira? You remember who moved them from the Noles zone? Kelly Elliott.
Well,
she's the one that made that happen 15 years ago, and they just act like that's how it's always been.
No, in the Hall of Fame?
I don't think so.
But I've never, and I know we'll move on. You can make poor decisions, and you can correct
everybody acts like it's a non-starter.
What they love,
I don't know.
Because what they
love is the students didn't come when they were there.
Oh, get the
And when the games are on TV, it's a great view. Even with a big game, even when they were good, to have rows and rows, swaths of empty seats behind the benches is what you always see at a Florida State basketball game.
And the students come, man.
Yeah,
like
they're there.
They were there.
They show up, but it doesn't matter because they get to sit in the rafters and
why
behind
would
baskets.
you wallow in that sort of stupidity?
It's nonsense. It's nonsense. Just give us, the three of us collectively, what we could do with that athletic department in 2 weeks. Number one, we're making cuts everywhere. Nobody's safe. Nobody's safe.
I want to have our collective meetings. I want the three of us to sit down over dinner and be like, this is going to be a fun one, boys.
Tomorrow's going to be.
What department do you want to start?
I'm going to have a hard time sleeping tonight.
Oh, man, that's brutal. All right, here we go. Good afternoon. This is from Jerry. Good afternoon, gentlemen. If you were granted by a genie well, I like that genie idea.
Yeah.
We all have.
It's got to happen at some point, right?
I Dream of Genie. Anybody ever see that show?
I'm surprised we don't bring that up all the time.
We should. I wanted to bring it up for our reference sake, of course, but also, man, that is the best of the fantasies.
I don't know what's her real name.
Barbara Eden.
Barbara Eden.
She's dead. She's
probably long dead, right?
Yeah, but she was hot into her 60s.
Yeah,
she was.
Oh,
I'm just letting you know.
Definitely on that show.
Yeah. It was something special. Anyhow,
want to make sure she's actually dead.
It's sad I remembered her name. Good.
That was impressive. You spent a lot of time thinking about Barbara Eden.
She's special.
No, she's alive. She's 93 years old.
She died
she's
a long time ago.
Worse for her.
Where's she living these
that
days?
Version of Barbara Eden.
She's in Wakulla.
She on Tinder?
She's in Wakulla.
She's at the fairgrounds next week. No, we're not doing that. Okay, good afternoon, gentlemen. If you were granted by a genie one automatic win for the season, which game would you choose? Thanks, and go Noles. Well, it depends on the era that you either went to school, began your love, passion for Florida State athletics and sports, and let's say it's football for the purposes of this discussion, because it's 99% of the people are going to say that. And if it's me, I want to beat Miami's ass every year, for eternity, in perpetuity.
But people a little bit older than you
will say
Florida.
Yeah. But if you're in your late 40s, early 50s,
where do you
Miami.
stand, buddy?
It's probably Florida.
You know,
even though you went to those wide right games.
I did, but that just seems like such a lost year. That's so long ago now. And Miami hasn't been relevant in so long.
Florida hasn't been relevant much lately in football.
I know, but it's still Florida.
It feels like to me, and
it'd be cool to beat an SEC team. There's that part of it. There's that element of it too.
I do think there's a little bit more, especially in the other sports, in basketball, certainly, and definitely in baseball. I feel like when those sports at Miami are good, it doesn't hurt as much as it does with what happened last night. Like Florida winning a national title, I think hurts worse than if Miami had won a national title. When they went to the Final Four, I didn't see like FSU fans the way how mad they've been about Florida being in the Final
basketball
Four.
program's never done anything. If they had won a national title,
they
before,
went to the Final Four, right?
Yeah,
I'm saying they had never done anything.
Right.
We never even thought of them.
So if they won one, it would have been like, see, this is
that
where
would have been a kick. It's like that baseball program. When they won one before Florida State. Florida State was infinitely superior to Florida baseball for 50 years.
Yep. So I would say,
but I think people accepted Miami baseball being good.
Well, yeah, the 5 national titles helped. But
here's the one thing I like about last night is that I was in Atlanta for that Peach Bowl against Houston.
I was too.
Where those fans,
I wish I wasn't.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. A horrible game. Francois played not Francois. Smack played with a broken leg and played well.
Yeah, we got JJ.
Constantino came in for a snap. But anyway, they even warmed up Francois on the sideline, even though he was redshirting. But those fans annoyed me so much. It always bothers me. Yes, it always bothered me. Absolutely.
You didn't like Houston basketball because of that football team?
I didn't. I can relish the thought of those same people that were doing a mock war chant when their football program has accomplished nothing.
Hold on a second.
Doing a mock war chant.
Hold on a second.
Being heartbroken last night.
Well, you would have hated the SMU fans if you had been in that stadium.
Same thing. I wish ill will towards all of them in their sports endeavors, only because Florida's already won one anyway. If it had been Florida's first basketball title, I would have been devastated if they won.
Go talk to some Florida State fans about the experiences they've had at Florida games. What are you talking about?
But that's a real football program. I respect that program. Houston fans coming to one New Year's Six game with that coach.
Well, they had Irish fans.
They're doing a mock war chant as if you've accomplished anything in this sport, talking all kinds of noise about your one good team that you ever had, and then 10 years later, your basketball team still keeps getting to the Final Four and losing. And you lost because you couldn't throw a shot at the rim, you losers. But hey, enjoy that Warchant you did 10 years ago in Atlanta for a game nobody remembers.
That's how my brain works.
That's how my brain works.
They lose it in a heartbreaking fashion.
And you should see their track fans. When Carl Lewis ran track for them, those fans were obnoxious.
I'm sure. The Andre Ware era was tough.
Ridiculous. I hold that against them, too.
I hold him against them. I have to listen to him on Friday nights. Oh, my God.
That's a good point.
He is the worst.
And they did try to beat SMU by 100 points that one game where they beat them like 91
But I'll give that coach credit. He didn't apologize. He was like, I'm going to score 100.
Who was that? Pardue?
Yeah,
Party?
Jack Pardee.
Jack Pardee.
He wasn't having it.
Yeah, he wanted to score 100.
Hey, if you're going to do it, be like Spurrier. I don't apologize. We're running it up. What's the record here? Let's go.
The reason SMU was so bad, was because they had gotten the death penalty because they cheated crazily for years. Yeah. So I can understand that kind of.
And now you come back full circle here. I see.
Well, you know what? I do feel bad for Houston fans. They're a lovable lot.
None of this is as good as Ira's hatred for Virginia Tech basketball because or football, but because of Seth Greenberg.
Well, and Virginia basketball because of Tony Bennett.
That whole state. Go to hell.
Yeah, but Virginia's for haters.
Yeah, my goodness gracious, that's good. No, Miami's always number one for me. That was a fun question. We got to go to the news. I still haven't hit that yet either.
No.
Seminole Headlines 93.3 Real Talk Radio. Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Your local news now.
2 men have been arrested following a pursuit that began in Grady County and finished in Thomas County. Deputies tried to conduct a traffic stop on a vehicle around 2:30 a.m. Saturday on US 319 South. Deputies say the stop was for speeding. The driver did not stop and proceeded to turn their headlights off while speeding away. Eventually, the chase crossed county lines into Thomas County, where deputies with the Thomas County Sheriff's Office joined the pursuit. Deputies said the driver, 22-year-old Demetrius Myrick, lost control of the vehicle and crashed outside of Harper Elementary in Thomasville. That's when both Myrick and his passenger ran from the crashed vehicle, but were quickly taken into custody. Myrick is now facing undisclosed charges in both Grady and Thomas counties. The passenger, William Tillman III, was arrested and taken to a detention facility. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by McNamore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at McNamoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Sunny skies this afternoon with highs around 72. Winds out of the north, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Mainly clear skies tonight, lows dip down to about 50. Bright sunshine tomorrow, highs around 75. Seasonal temps Thursday and Friday with highs in the upper 70s. Slight chance for showers Friday. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently, it's 67 degrees.
What makes Paul's Termite and Pest Control the best in North Florida?
It's our core values, of course, and they happen to spell Paul's.
P, protecting you and your pets from pests and your property from termites. A, accept personal responsibility. At Paul's, we realize it's up to us to get things right and strive to do more than's expected.
U, uphold company values. Those values include treating others with respect and understanding we represent Paul's Pest Control on and off the clock.
L, look the part. As representatives of this great company, we will always make sure that our image matches the character of Paul's.
S, support the team. Every job we do is a total team effort to create a supportive workplace.
P, protecting you, your pets, and your property. A, accept personal responsibility. U, uphold company values. L, look the part. S, support the team. Paul's core values. They make us the best.
For the elimination of termites and other pests.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
All right, boys, let's do it. Down the home stretch we go. Get a few more in here.
I truly think if I was in charge of the athletic department, the first order of business, my most important order of business, would be the seating at the basketball games.
All right.
Legitimately, I think so. I mean, they're taking care of all the other stuff and they're doing fine. That's the one wart.
We can start bitching about it consistently. I mean,
it's worked before with other things.
Other people do. They've given up. They've been beaten into submission.
Well, I mean, because anytime I talk to anybody, they just dismiss it like it's not going to happen. So
I don't know why they'd be so flippant about something that is an issue amongst the fans. The fans hate it. They get pissed.
Yeah. And you can incentivize students to come if you're worried about them not showing up in your Noles zone or whatever.
Bob writes, if the Noles have another.
Maybe Luke, make it happen, Luke.
Come on, Luke.
Listen to this.
Know,
tell them you're not going to coach a second until they change the seating arrangement.
Get this turned around. Exert your authority.
Yeah, man.
Bob writes, if the Noles have another crap season, how many games?
Which sport are we talking about here?
Probably
football. It has to be football, right? It could be
Yeah,
basketball. You are correct. Yeah. If the Noles have another crap season, how many games before a drunk fan in the new field level section of the stadium gets into an altercation with one of the players or coaches? I'm guessing by the end of the third quarter of the Alabama game.
How close is it to the sideline?
Oh, I mean, super close.
We got a problem.
Yeah, that's why wouldn't they put it behind the other team's sideline?
Well, you don't want that either.
You don't want that.
You'd rather
There's going to be a brawl.
You'd rather your fans get in a drunken fight with the other players than if you had to choose. If you had to choose, because if you see a guy in a garnet shirt throwing a punch at Jalen Lucas,
you think they'll have,
I mean, it's going to be hard to keep players on
this conversation.
Well,
I will say this, man. Fans, and we talked about this, because I don't think all of us think it's ridiculous, but fans go to sporting events and think that they're like at the zoo where they could just say whatever they want.
Yeah, they're encased in they're not. There's some invisible barrier that the players can't get to them.
And you can mess around and find out.
Yeah,
like
I root for it every time,
but not with Florida State fans and their own players. Is my point. But, if it was Alabama players, all bets are off.
Maybe there'll be some security down there, like
Because also, and this is true because you hear this a lot.
I don't think it's gonna be easily accessible. I don't think they're gonna be easy to get to each other. But
an irate fan base coming off of 2-10, a proud fan base coming off 2-10. If they're losing 21-6 in the fourth quarter, Alabama, there's going to be some not nice things said to those players in front of them.
That's so
and
bad.
also,
I hate
get
it. It's
but
the worst.
It's the truth. And also, there's another level to it now where
think about yourself. You're yelling at a 21-year-old,
but you're yelling at a 21-year-old that's getting paid now.
Yeah, whatever.
So that's that's their mindset.
That you would never say to him on the street.
Of course.
No, we all get it.
We're not. I'm just saying that's a actual. I know it's a jokey question, but it's something that if they're bad again this year, 4-4, playing that 9th game at home, that there's going to be some animosity.
I will say, going back to when we talk about fans having to fit the bill.
Yeah,
college fans having to fit the bill. When all this going back,
are you saying fit the bill or foot the bill?
Fit the bill.
Isn't it foot the bill?
There's two different sayings. You want foot the bill.
Foot the bill. Yeah.
Yeah.
So whenever I think about the more that has been asked of the fans and the professionalization of the college game, and the more money that they spend,
money they had to pay to get into that porch.
The more I think about it, and then you add social media and this crazy mentality the fans have. To your point, I just get nervous. I recoil thinking about it. It's not going to be good.
I'll say this. Listen, man, I do agree because people get mad when fans boo. I don't have a problem with that. You buy your ticket, you can boo.
Yeah,
fine, I don't care. But yeah, man, you don't need to be yelling at individual players. And so that scenario, yeah, man, because here, listen to the players will turn around.
Yes.
And so
even if 20 years old,
even if there's not a physical altercation, that's just a bad look, especially if it's caught on TV. So yeah, it's something they got to.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Move them to the other sideline, and then it's going to be fun to watch each week.
If we could get a moment in which LeGarrette Blount punches somebody in the face again, or a moment like it was that night that we saw.
But you're talking about a Florida State fan getting punched in the face.
LeGarrette Blount punched a Boise State player.
Yeah,
but who had his helmet off like a stupid ass,
making fun of him.
Yeah, but somebody yelling at a guy like that who doesn't have time for it, who's going to be, I will punch your ass guy. That will be funny.
Couple questions. A couple people coming back at me. Didn't like me saying they shouldn't yell at individual players. I get it, man. I understand that you feel like that. I don't know. My point is, if you wouldn't do it when you're not separated by that glass, like what? I don't like doing it when you are.
Yeah. I think what I think where people get
individual
upset,
player, like think back to. I mean, again, man, just think of moments in time. The kid from Houston.
What would you yell to Charlie Morton walking off the mound after his last
start? I just
start?
text you every time Charlie Morton starts.
I know that Charlie's on the hill today.
Oh boy, I can't wait for those texts.
I did probables today for the bonus hour coming up, and I mentioned Charlie Morton. I said Ira's got to be thrilled with his 0-2, 9.78 ERA.
Put all your money on the A's.
But Charlie's had a long, illustrious career.
Yeah, not for the Orioles. Not for the Orioles.
Over.
Yeah.
Just maybe over. You got to blame your franchise for bringing a 57-year-old.
Yeah,
Charlie
man. I first guessed it.
I think you could, if you're in the stands, you could yell, "Hey, Tommy, get it together. Let's go."
Right.
Not Tommy. Take your dumb ass back to Boston.
Give back your NIL.
Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah, come on, guys.
You can do what you want. I shouldn't say you shouldn't.
Come on, Ira. What are you, the fan police?
Yeah, you can be. You can say it. It's okay. People shouldn't yell.
You should not yell derogatory at any athlete, really. Like Ira says, especially if you're that close to them.
Yeah.
Like if you're in the upper deck, yell whatever you want. They can't get to you.
No, but you can honestly boo non-effort. I'm always okay
100%.
And that's where that's coming from, because last year there were guys who did not give effort.
But there were times last year in games where I have friends that sit in that section, like right behind the FSU players, and there were videos that put out of like some students or young FSU fans berating players on Florida State's team.
Not a good idea.
Man, it's
not a good idea.
You would listen. Anything you want to do, fine. Imagine somebody videotaped you doing that.
Would
put
you do that
on social
on
media? How would you feel?
But also, would you do that on Tennessee Street if you saw him walking? Would you say, "Hey, you suck"? Where's the? You would not say that.
Honestly, berate the coaches.
Oh yeah.
Berate the guy making $10 million a year to guide you to a 2-10 season.
Let's lay off the berating in general and just let's be kind.
Less berating in 2025.
Let's be kind, guys. Can we just be kind?
Good luck. They went 2-10 last year. Let
Screw
them
them.
fool around.
Yep, I agree. Never mind. Caught me into it.
Thomas writes, I believe Corey said we scored 18 touchdowns last year. With our September schedule, could we see this year's team close to matching that in the first month?
Yes. So 18 offensive touchdowns. They scored 19 overall, but one was Sam Singleton's kick return. And they scored 13 against Division I opponents. 13, I think. 13 or 14 against FCS opponents. FBS opponents. So, I think they could have definitely reached the number of touchdowns scored against FBS opponents in the first month.
I believe that to be.
If they don't, actually,
possible,
things have gone wrong. You need to. There's 10 in those middle two games right there.
If they don't, things have gone wrong. Jason writes, new motto for registers, got sausage, want some? Workshopping it.
Yeah.
And then he writes,
that's a shirt.
Yeah. And then he writes, anyway, is Tommy closer to the 2021 or 2022 version of Jordan Travis?
I would guess, we couldn't know from 14 attempts. I would guess he's probably closer to 21. Right. But I think that's who he is. I also think that version of Jordan Travis on this team
good enough to win
9 or 10 games.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Hibachi Jones writes, a lot of accolades have already been tossed at new quarterback Kevin Sperry. Can I get your opinion? Do you think he'll play meaningful snaps in the Garnet and Gold? I guess he means big picture.
I mean, listen. Big picture. I think definitely
so.
will. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Based on what we saw.
Based on what we saw, we didn't see a lot of downhill. We don't know what kind of quarterback he is with the passing.
We don't know that in those earlier practices that Norvell said he's hit some deep balls.
He has, and then also Malzahn said he was ultra impressive on Thursday, and he wasn't, I don't think, talking about his running. I was just more taken aback, like really jaw dropped by the athleticism. I didn't know that was part of the deal. So at least he has a trait like Castellanos. He has
really
one
good runner.
Great trait.
And the fact that he's he's still in green. Norvell's not made him live yet. He actually kind of hinted that he might look to make him live and maybe the next scrimmage. But he did say that but I mean, the kid's dad was a linebacker. I mean, he's a football player.
By the way, I won't say who, but he depantsed a scholarship linebacker in
that
in the open field.
That was unfortunate.
That was unfortunate.
He got oohs and ahs from the defensive players with that move.
Yeah, that was tough. I know you guys like Micah Posey. Well, you can see where this is going. But do you believe he'll be retained? I'm just going straight to that. That's a fair question. I know you guys like Micah Posey. Do you think he'll be retained?
I think it goes to, listen, this is where I am with, if you're Link has to know. I mean, Link knows whether or not those guys are just not good enough.
Yeah.
And why did they sign them? And Link's got a lot more information than us. So it's easy for us or administrators or whoever else to say, you need to make a change there. But if it's not because of his coaching decisions, then why would you? I
would say it would be something that obviously is thought about if they. It's been a bad 2-week stretch. They haven't been good all year, but they haven't been
like
this bad.
The rest of the year.
It's almost rock bottomish. Where like if you have one of the worst ERAs in the ACC at Florida State, I feel like there's got to be a reset, but we're still halfway through the season. Some of these guys might find it.
Big game tonight against Florida, everybody, down in Gainesville. They're reeling. They just got swept.
Great time to
had a bad weekend. Get this win.
Great time to turn it around.
They just got swept at home. They got swept at home. They can lose at home.
Well, they frequently get swept at home.
Yeah, they frequently get swept.
They're 1-11 in the SEC. Not that this is an SEC game. Good job, Ira. Good
Thanks,
job,
man.
Corey. Be good, everybody. Until next time, peace.